What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Baddog here with another New York Yankee video. Excuse the appearance. I just got done with the gyms. I just wanted to come down here and do this video. I was thinking about it during the workout, using it to fuel my workout and how much the Yankees just piss me off to no end. You don't need to worry about it, man. I ain't screaming in this video. I ain't going to yell. I know a lot of people want me to yell. I get it. And trust me, I'm sure there'll be plenty of yelling throughout this season if they continue to play like this. But, what do you even say at this juncture with the Yankees? Just lost a series to the Orioles in which they scored a total of 6 runs. And in 2 of the games, they scored a total of 1 run. Okay, they scored 1 run in 11 innings to open the series. They got shut out yesterday. Totally wasting a great effort by Nestor Cortes, struck out 12 batters. Absolutely ridiculous. I just don't understand. I don't understand why the Yankees thought this was going to be any better. I don't know why they thought this team was going to be any different than last year's team. Now, I've seen some Yankee video makers, and one of the worst takes that I have seen had to deal with Aaron Hicks. Now, listen, I'm not going to get on Aaron Hicks too much here, okay? He's done pretty well. He's failed in big situations, which pisses me off to no end. Okay, which leads me into this one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. And I heard this guy, and of course, this is a younger fan, so you got to give him a little leeway. I mean, any dude that uses the word bro 5 times in a sentence, it's kind of hard to take the guy seriously. But I heard him say, Aaron Hicks' job isn't to drive in runs. Aaron Hicks' job is to get on base. Well, he's let off twice this year. So, number 1, that's false. Number 2, the reason that is a horrible take, and it shows the ignorance of some people when it comes to actually knowing the game of baseball. Your job changes every time you're up, depending on the situation. Every time. Depending on the count, depending on the score, depending on who's on base, the amount of outs, it always changes. The only time your job is to get on base is when you're leading off an inning. Aaron Hicks is guaranteed to lead off an inning once a game if he's the leadoff hitter. He's not guaranteed to lead off at any other time. What if Joey Gallo comes up in the second inning just to lead it off? Is his job not to get on base because he's the 6th place hitter? No, his job is to get on base and start a rally. That is his job. If Aaron Hicks comes up with 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, his job at that point is not to get on base. His job is to drive in the runs. That's his job in that situation. Yes, to lead off a game, to lead off an inning, yes, that is your job, but I don't care if that's Aaron Hicks. I don't care if that's Trevino. I don't care if it's IKF. I don't care if it's Rizzo. I don't care if it's Stanton. I don't care who it is. If you're leading off, it's a different situation. If you're up with a man on 3rd and less than 2 outs, it's a different situation. If you're up 3-0, it's a different situation. If you're down 3-0, it's a different situation. Baseball is situational all the time. There's another guy, another Aaron Hicks fanboy on my last video talking about, Aaron Hicks had a WAR of 5 in 2018. I gave this man, I'm assuming it's a man, I don't know, but I gave him Aaron Hicks' entire career. 234 career hitter, 234 career hitter with runners in scoring position, 130 career hitter with the bases loaded. Okay, a WAR of 12 in 9 years. He saved 1 defensive run in 9 years. I could go on and on and on and on and on about the man's career. It's his entire career. And then the guy says to me, you got to stop taking a small situational sample size. I gave you his whole career, and you're talking about 1 year where he had a WAR of 5. Brett Gardner had 2 years where he had a WAR of over 5. So what exactly are we talking about here? And again, I'm not trying to make this about Aaron Hicks. I'm just talking about some of these terrible takes from the fan base. And this is why the Yankees at this juncture don't try to win World Series anymore, because fans like this settle. And I'm not telling you how to fan. I love when people tell me how to fan. That always makes me laugh. You got to calm down. It's 10 games. Don't tell me how to be a fan. If you're satisfied with 5-5, them hitting 229, and them winning 91 games a year and getting knocked out in the wild card game or the first round, that's great. I'm glad you're satisfied with that. But you know what? I'm not. Okay, I lived through the dark days of the 1980s, okay, when they were really bad at the end of the 80s and early 90s. I lived through the dynasty when this team was fantastic. I brought up the stat the other day. In 1998, the Yankees hit 207 home runs, and they they scored 965 runs. Last year, they hit 222 home runs, and they scored 711 runs. It just goes to show you that this all or nothing thing does not work. That you need to hit in situations. You need to get on base. You need to hit, guys. You need to hit. The Yankees are hitting 229 as a team. It's great that our starting pitching has been very good to start the year, and that the bullpen's been pretty decent outside of Loizaga. He's been pretty bad, which I think he'll be okay. Loizaga's a pretty good pitcher. Maybe he's just off to a slow start. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's been good for the last few years for us. But, for the most part, the pitching has been there. The hitting is not. The problem is you have the same team you had last year, except you're running it back now with a 36, 37-year-old Josh Donaldson and IKF, who's been a train wreck. I mean, again, it's 10 games. I'm not about to sit here and call for Anthony Volpe to come up and take IKF's spot. I'm not asking for that. But you brought in IKF as a defensive shortstop and a guy that makes contact, and his defense has been horrible this entire year. He's not hitting a lick, and he doesn't draw any walks. So I don't really understand the situation. You really could have ran this. You could have had the left side of the infield that the Twins have. That's really what the Yankees could have and should have done. They have missed out on a lot of guys that they could have signed. And, like I said, they're running it back with all or nothing Gallo. They're running it back with guys that strike out 150 to 200 times a year. Guys with low batting averages, up and down that lineup. You got two backup catchers. And again, I'm not going to sit here and kill the catchers because I could not stand Gary Sanchez at all. I feel like Gary Sanchez is also a backup catcher, just has a ton of power. And Trevino's actually been a pretty nice surprise so far. But this team is just poorly constructed, and it's been poorly constructed for years. And again, I know it's 10 games, but we're not just looking at 10 games. I love when people say it's just 10 games. It's just 10 games. No, it's not just 10 games, man. We're talking a couple of years in the making with this team. We're talking since 2020. This is what this team does. They have a very low batting average. They have a very low contact rate, and they do not come up in big situations and drive in runs. I don't care if you're driving in runs with home runs. I don't care if you're driving in with a ground ball to second, a sacrifice fly, a bunt. I don't care. You need to drive in runs when you have the opportunity, and the Yankees don't do that. The Yankees' rally is a bloop and a blast, a walk and a home run, or two solo home runs. That is their idea of a rally. And during the dynasty years, man, the Yankees would be putting together laser after laser, going to the opposite field, hitting the ball in the gap, hitting the ball down the line, hitting the ball up the middle. They'd be all over the place. They would score 6 runs on 8 hits in an inning. That's what they used to do. Now, the only way the Yankees are going to score 6 runs in an inning is if they hit 3 or 4 home runs in the inning. And again, home runs are nice. I like watching Giancarlo Stanton hit the ball over the moon, man, but that is not going to consistently win you games. It is hard to hit home runs. Even when you're going against a pitcher like Jordan Lyles, you're not guaranteed to hit home runs. Gleyber Torres is an absolute disaster. I was so wrong about Gleyber. I thought Gleyber would be an MVP candidate in 2020. I had such high hopes for this kid. He fell off. Gary Sanchez, the first 2 years in the league, looked amazing. He fell off. I don't know what the Yankees are doing developing this talent. Gary Sanchez was our talent. Gleyber Torres was the Cubs' talent. These two guys had great beginnings of their career, and then all of a sudden it's like they don't know what they're doing. And Gary Sanchez isn't our problem anymore, but what are the Yankees doing to these kids? What are they doing to developing the talent? And this probably goes back to the fact that they can't develop their own talent. They don't have prospects come up and produce for years and years and years outside of Aaron Judge. As I said before, name me one guy that has produced more than 2 years for the Yankees at a high level that came out of our farm system. You're not going to find one. I don't know if it's the fact that the scouting department doesn't know how to find talent, if they don't know how to develop it. I don't know what the problem is. But we are laden with bad contracts, no talent in the mind. Now, we're talking about Volpe and Peraza and all these other guys, Dominguez, and that's great. But I heard this with Ruben Rivera, Ricky Leday, Jabba Chamberlain, Ian Kennedy. I heard this, Jesus Montero. That's a great one for the Yankee past. And I've heard this for years. And none of these guys come up to the level and produce. They totally screwed Gleyber up by moving him to short. They totally screwed Jabba up by taking him out of the bullpen and making him a starter. They should have just left him where he was. He was dominant as a setup man for Mariano. Leave him alone. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why this is happening. But this didn't happen when they were winning championships. They had a nice mix of veterans that hit the ball. They had a nice mix of young talent. Don't have that anymore. Where's the young talent on the Yankees? Aaron Judge is going to be 30. Aaron Judge is off to a bad start. Turned down a big contract. Is he feeling the pressure? Is he not coming through? Who knows? I still think Aaron Judge is going to be a Yankee in the future. But still, it is what it is. But this team, it's incredibly frustrating. And again, I don't see it changing. Joey Gallo came out and said, hey, I am what I am. I hit the ball out of the park or I strike out. You know what that tells me? I ain't changing. I'm Joey Gallo. I ain't changing. I ain't cutting down on my swing. I don't care about the situation. I don't care if it's 3-1 or 0-2. I'm swinging the same way every time I come up to the plate. I don't care if we're down by 1, down by 10, up by 10, up by 1. I don't care if the bases are loaded or I'm leading off an inning. I'm not changing my approach. That's a terrible way to play baseball. You constantly need to change your approach when you're playing the game because the situations are always different. Always. That's why the take about Aaron Hicks was horrible when the guy said, oh, his job is to get on base. When the bases are loaded with 1 out, his job is to drive in the run. It's not to get on base. It's certainly not to hit into a double play. When there's a man on second with 2 outs and you're tied, his job is to drive in the run. It's not to get on base. It's all situational. Baseball is big time situational, which I think some of the younger fans don't understand that is the way you play the game. It's based on situations. So it's frustrating to me as a fan to watch them just constantly play the same game, no matter the inning, no matter the score, no matter the count, no matter the situation. That is what frustrates me more than anything else. And then we got an idiot manager. I mean, I don't know what to say about our manager. Why do we have a different starting lineup every game? Why? Why is it different every game? Why are we resting guys a week or 2 weeks into the season? These guys are major league ball players. They're in phenomenal shape. They make hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're resting them in the middle of April? Really? There is an old adage in baseball. It says you can't win the division in April, but you certainly can lose it. Now, granted, the Yankees are off to a better start than they were last year. They were 5-12. They were a train wreck. They got in a nice roll. And I've said this before, when they went on that run in August, they were mixing small ball with big ball. And they were winning. 1st to 3rd on singles, driving in runs, bunting runners over, stealing bases, doing the little things along with the big things to win ball games, which is why they won 11 in a row. That's what you need. You need situational baseball. You need small ball with big ball. And you need good pitching. We got the good pitching right now. There is no small ball. And even the home runs, they're sparse. It's not easy to do this. So, again, I am frustrated. I don't care if it's 10 games. I don't care. This has been more than 10 games. We're going back to last year. We're going back to 2020. We're going all the way back to 2018 after Girardi got fired and things changed. Again, if you're a fan and you're satisfied with them winning 90 games, 92, 93, even 100 games and not winning a World Series, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you, oh, that's not the way you should be. I'm not telling you that. But again, you don't tell me how to be a fan. I expect to win a World Series. I expect the Yankees to try to win World Series. I don't expect the Yankees to go, oh, you know what? We're going to settle for making the playoffs and getting knocked out. We had a good year. That was a successful year because I didn't grow up rooting for the Yankees that way. I don't root for any of my teams that way. I want to win championships. I'm a fan. The whole reason I'm a fan is to watch my team win the whole thing. And that's what I expect. And again, the Yankees, they have a higher status than anybody else. Is it fair that the Yankees are expected to win a World Series every year? No. But you know what? You're the Yankees. You're the greatest freaking team in the history of professional sports. More championships than any team in the history of professional sports. A team that has expected absolute greatness. A team that has had the greatest ball players in the history of this game play for the Pinstripes. The Pinstripes are renowned around the globe. The interlocking NY is renowned around the globe. No disrespect to the Tampa Bay Rays, but we're not the Rays. We're not the Pirates. We're not the Reds. Okay? We're not even the Dodgers. Okay? We're the Yankees. The Dodgers have some of that, but they're not the Yankees. But you know what? You look at what the Dodgers do. They know how to use the analytics. They got a nice mixture of big ball and small ball. The Tampa Bay Rays don't even really have the big ball. But you know what? They win the division every year. Why? Because they play situational baseball, man. And until the Yankees figure this out, if they will figure it out, because these players are veterans, they're not young, they're not going to make adjustments. Stan's been around a long time. Judge's been around a long time. Donaldson's been around a long time, okay? These guys are not changing. Gallo's not changing. Rizzo's not changing. Hicks is not changing. They are what they are. So that's why I don't expect much different. There's going to be a week or two where the Yankees are mauling the ball and they go 12-3. It's going to happen. But then you're going to have series like this, and you're going to have weeks like this where they don't score runs. They're going to lose to teams like the Orioles or the Tigers or the Reds or whatever teams that are not very good because they're not playing situational baseball. It all comes down to situations. It all comes down to succeeding in those situations, and that's the way you win ball games. I don't care if this is, like I said early in my last video, I don't care if it's 1895 or it's 2022. The object is to score runs. It doesn't matter how you score them, but it's much easier to get a single than it is to hit a home run. Got to learn how to string together hits. Got to learn how to work the count. Got to learn how to play baseball. You have to learn how to play situational baseball. It all goes back to fundamentals. You got to learn how to play fundamental baseball. You do that, you're going to win games. And you're still going to hit home runs. That's the thing. You're still going to hit home runs. The Yankees are still going to hit home runs. But God almighty, you have to find other ways to score runs. It's not always going to come via the home run. Anyway, that's 16 minutes. Oh, my Lord. I can't believe I made a video so long. I'm sorry it's so long. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, ring the bell. More Yankee content coming in the future. It's a bad thing. It is. I'm out. Peace.